Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Let's Taste with the Intrepid Wino. My name is James Scaresbrook. I have been sent some more samples. I'm really grateful to be sent samples by wineries and wine companies. It is very humbling to know that people are interested to know what I think of their wines, and I relish the opportunity to try new things and chat about the things that I like. And things that I feel could be improved, but I think it's safe to say that one of the top, if not the top producer from Tasmania is Stefano Lubiana, Steve Lubiana, as he's known to most people in the industry. Based in the Derwent Valley. I had the opportunity to visit for the first time May of 2016. Wasn't it? Yeah. And it's a beautiful estate, beautiful restaurant as well. You know, very Italian kind of feel to it. And one of the top wines here on Let's Taste for 2016 was a wine that I bought and brought back with me to Melbourne, and it was 1996 Late Disgorged sparkling wine, possibly one of the best sparkling wines I've ever tasted from Australia. And they have really generously sent me a couple of samples, super premium wines, and I'm really quite excited and a little bit overwhelmed at the opportunity to taste these wines. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. Obviously, Steve Lubiana famously is a biodynamic producer, with some parts of the estate already converted and some in the process of conversion, but cool climate, big focus on Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and those are the two varieties we're looking at today. So to start off with, we'll look at the Chardonnay, which is called the Collina, 2012, 100% Chardonnay. I dare say this would be very low yielding, you know, super intense, concentrated, had every opportunity to be the best wine it can be. I feel that whilst Chardonnay is great in Tasmania, I think generally the Chardonnay quality is better for sparkling wines. I am yet to be completely blown away by Tasmanian Chardonnay. I think generally Tasmanian Chardonnay is better than Tasmanian Pinot Noir, but I'm really interested to see what these two wines represent. So recommended retail for the Collina is $90, and as you can probably imagine, made in extremely low volumes. Nice and pale, not super dark, you know, nice brightness, just a bit of colour to it. Really super intense, rich, toasty, ripe citrus, stone fruits, very classic mellow batonnage work, lees contact, very toasty in the oak character, crunchy kind of lemon crumbly sort of smoky notes. Really, looking at this blind, you probably would think it maybe was coming from Burgundy in France, you know, the classic home of Chardonnay. This is a really exceptional nose. 2012, from memory, was a slightly cooler vintage. Slightly. I mean, they're all pretty cool in Tasmania. And it has had the benefit of age as well. Let's taste. I can feel some ripeness, a little bit of warmth on the palate, but it's actually a lot more subtle and subdued on the palate than I was expecting, considering the intensity on the nose. It's certainly not aromatic, it's very complex in character on the nose, but there's a lot of intensity to it, whereas it's quite soft. You know, there's got a nice kind of creamy texture to it. I dare say that's coming a lot from that lees contact, but batonnage, a barrel character, I think there's been some, if not all, barrel ferment as well, and that's really contributing to that kind of soft texture and that creamy sort of toasty flavour as well. On the ripe spectrum, so we're talking about dried lemon, dried peach, apricot, that kind of thing. It's not cooked necessarily, but it is at the ripe end of the spectrum before it becomes overripe. It does have a little bit of that lanolin character, which I do tend to see in New World Chardonnays. Like lemon butter as well. It's a really, really exceptional Chardonnay, and very much in that classic mould. It's by no means sharp. It's not really kind of tingly. It's very, very unctuous without becoming sort of fat and flabby and over ripe as far as alcohol as well. So that's a really, really awesome start. Very, very impressed with that. Very happy. I don't really drink heaps of Chardonnay these days. I try to diversify my drinking as much as possible, tasting lots of different varieties from all over. But look, if you don't know Chardonnay in this industry, you should, and you should be able to tell when something is of quality. The second one we're going to look at is the Sasso, which is a Pinot Noir. It is a 2013 vintage. And I believe this is a barrel selection. Recommended retail price is $120. I have reasonably particular tastes in Pinot Noir, and like stylistically, I tend to like them quite light, and especially light on oak. Having a little bit of trouble with this wax. So subsequently, the general style of Pinot Noir that I like is more commonly found in the Mornington Peninsula. I found that Tasmanian Pinots can either be a little bit on the thin side, a little bit underripe, a little bit weedy, or they're a tad over-extracted and too heavy on the oak. So I'm really interested to see what a much more premium Tasmanian Pinot Noir has to offer. You can see there's a difference in terms of seal with these two wines. The Chardonnay is under a screw cap and the Pinot Noir is under a natural cork, which looks to be of very high quality. So, reasonably bright in the glass. Nice darkish colour for Pinot Noir. Not super intense. It's very inviting, very textbook kind of appearance as far as Pinot Noir. Brooding, not like it is. There is some dark fruit, but it's quite bright and fresh. Perfumed, some nice floral characters as well. There's a bit of a whole bunch character, which is giving it a little bit of a stalky, stemmy, brambly sort of character. It's definitely in that sort of pomegranate area. Some slightly underripe black cherries. There's a little bit of nutmeg in there. It's quite complex, but really bright, fresh fruits as well. 13, being a year younger, and being I think a slightly warmer vintage. I'm not surprised to see slightly more exuberance of fruit in the Pinot Noir compared to the Chardonnay. Let's taste. It's certainly not thin or weedy at all, and it's not over oaked, and it's not particularly over extracted either. There's some nice firm tannins in there with good precision, ripe fruits as well, but nowhere near sort of jammy like some Pinot Noirs can be. It is very fresh. It's really got nice lines through the palate, right in the mid palate. It doesn't have a lot of breadth. There's a lot of focus to this wine. It has a nice drive and there's some complexity as well. Just a little bit of savoury note, which I think will come to the fore a lot more with a bit more age. At the moment it's a very, very fine, reasonably delicate but still quite intense Pinot Noir at the moment in its youth, but will benefit with age. It has some really exceptional acidity in there, which is going to hold up very well. It's very nicely balanced, and look, that is breaking the mold as far as my perception of Tasmanian Pinot Noir. I like what I see here. It does have a slightly more delicate touch in certain areas, and it is a lovely, lovely Pinot Noir. Again, Pinot Noir, not a variety I drink very often. Unfortunately, one of the problems is that Pinot Noirs tend to be a little bit more expensive, but when you get quality, you really do get what you pay for, and I think there's exceptional quality in these wines for those who are happy to part with this amount of money for their wines, particularly Australian wines. These are not going to disappoint. I do think that they are changing some perceptions as far as Tasmanian wine. At least they certainly have changed some of my perceptions. And I'm a big fan of Stefano Lubiana. For me, I think the Pinot Noir is a little bit more balanced. It's a little bit more kind of clarity and context and connection between the nose and the palate. The Chardonnay, outstanding, but the palate doesn't quite match up with the nose as much as the Pinot Noir does. So the Pinot Noir is the pick for me, but they're both outstanding wines. Thank you obviously to everyone at Stefano Lubiana Wines in Tasmania. I do heartily recommend paying them a visit, because it's a beautiful place to visit in a beautiful part of the world. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please, if you did like it, hit that like button below. Make sure to share it on social media. Make sure that you comment below, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you if you've had some experiences with Lubiana or Tasmanian wines in general that you'd like to share with me. I'd love to hear from you. And please make sure you subscribe to the Intrepid Wino YouTube channel. There's lots and lots of other Let's Taste videos, as well as some other content that I've put together in the last year and a half or so. And come and visit me at intrepidwino.com. There's lots of different ways of getting in contact with me there, as well as you can listen to my podcast. Hopefully I'll get Steve on the podcast at some point. And make sure you follow me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Intrepid Wino, and get in touch with me if you'd like to submit samples. But guys, until next time, cheers.